Happy Saturday, y'all. Y'all know what time it is. The Paradigm Shift, episode 24. With a special guest today. I couldn't be more excited for this one. Oh, everybody's out today. Good morning, Jesse. Hey there, Alexandra. Big Bad Dave, I see you. You're so handsome. Gonna get you one right now. Articulate alligator. Let's get nuts. Yep. You got a lot of energy today, all of y'all. I love it. Dave, we're bringing you on right now. Big Dave, send a request. Articulate alligator, Kelly, Jakey Bakey. Yup. Okay, Big Dave. Right now, have no fear. Let's get nuts and a little bit of weird. Big bro, how you doing? I'll see you later. Love you so much.
Boom!
There he is. What do you got? What does it say? Blessed?
Yeah, blessed. With the San Diego logo.
Because you are blessed. And
I'm very blessed. Today. Jakey Bakey, I just sent you a house for us to buy. Check it out.
Ooh, what's the occasion?
We're get a house office. I'm buying another house with Jakey so he can move out on his mom.
Oh, really? How you doing, Big Dave?
I'm amazing, man. How's the foot?
It's going good. Everything's going good. We got the stitches out last week.
Don't even call it a comeback. You've been here for years.
That's it. Sooner than later, you and I will be doing this live in studio, broadcast it to the world to see.
Boom.
You ready to rock?
And roll.
Let's get nuts.
Let's do it.
Talk about drive. Is that something that you can teach, or do you have to just have it inside you, like you need to want it bad?
No, you can motivate and inspire people, and when you motivate them, that'll get them up, get them started. When you inspire them, it will clear the interference between them and all that energy, that drive, and it builds upon itself. It compounds in its interest, and it's aggregated upon itself. Energy begets more energy, and so wherever the drive is, that baseline of drive, it can exponentially grow in everyone. Some people start with more drive than others, but that doesn't mean, my senior quote was always, it doesn't matter if you have the lead, as long as you have the heart to come from behind. And that drive can be aggregate on itself, compounded in its interest, clear the interference between you and that great source of energy. You will have an extraordinary amount of energy.
Bang! Mic drop with the first question. I love it. I see Casey. I see you on there, brother. We're going to bring you on just one second.
Casey turned 21, so he can drink now.
What an icon. Started in the game young. Dave, I wanted to ask you, we're going to get deep for 1 second, and we're going to bring Casey on. Let's get vulnerable for a second. I think the audience can really resonate with this. What's some adversity that you're currently dealing with right now, and how are you handling it?
So I started therapy for the first time in my life because I was abused as a 9-year-old and never really dealt with it, and felt as if, I was teaching everybody else how to handle trauma and a reoccurring energetic and genetic inheritance of the trauma and drama that was caused in my life because of it. And so, dealing with things that, never realized in my own being that I had to realize as my daughter pops on. Mia, good morning. We'll see you, Mia. She's flying in today. We got a big wedding with Casey. He's dating my niece. And we got a big wedding at the Ritz-Carlton all weekend long. So I get to spend the whole weekend with my family. But nonetheless, I've become a huge fan of, having therapy and getting help.
I love that. And I appreciate you pulling back the curtain on that one because, I think that maybe that's frowned upon by some people. But look, if someone can provide some extra value, then it's a no-brainer. I love that. I didn't realize Casey was dating your niece. We're going to bring on Casey right now.
Yes, my niece is like 34 and Casey's 21.
Come on.
My niece is going to hate me. Casey's like, hey, Mia. Mia's older than Casey.
Casey, send a request, buddy. I don't know for some reason why.
I think it's on your phone. I sent mine. It just took a little bit longer.
Oh, so, really?
Yeah, I sent mine. He'll get it there. Maybe it's his first time using Instagram.
No way. Casey, best brother. In time, Dave, while we're bringing him on,
You
I'll
can
ask
click on Casey's name, hold his name. If you hold his name, and then it'll say go live with Casey.
I know it says hide live. I don't know why. It's acting a little weird.
Oh, creepy.
Yeah.
Maybe we love Casey, Mia says. I love Casey. Jacqueline loves Casey.
In the meantime, Dave, while I bring him on,
Yeah.
talk about how significant it is to practice mindfulness. So, for example, like right now, I don't give a shit about what's happening 5 minutes from now or what happened 5 minutes ago. I'm just so present in the moment with you. It's something I've been working on, and it makes for such intimate connections. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I actually take a metaphysical approach to mindfulness. You know, kindness is mindfulness, gratitude, forgiveness, accountability. But the thing about mindfulness that people don't look at that I'm studying is the speed of mindfulness. See, everybody works on a time frame of man-made constructive time, meaning the speed of light, 186,000 miles per second. Most people don't understand or study the speed of mindfulness. See, the speed of mindfulness is it moves faster than the speed of light. The speed of thought is proven to move faster than the speed of light. Therefore, you can take advantage of that which exists in the speed of light by being mindful, by being kind, by pursuing the truth, by pursuing your potential, by being your best. Even if you're 13 years old like Casey, you can enjoy the consistent, everyday, persistent, without quit pursuit of his own. Did you get your braces off, buddy? Your teeth look really good.
Oh my God. What up, Dave? What up, Craig?
What's up, Casey?
Casey,
people are wishing me happy birthday.
It's great to connect.
Show your pipes, Casey. Show your pipe.
I've been hitting the gym with Joshy.
Casey, we're hanging out this weekend at Ritz-Carlton, buddy.
It's great to finally connect, Casey.
Yeah, you as well. Happy to be here. Thanks for having me. And Dave, I'll see you there.
Wait, so Dave potentially might be family for the rest of your life.
Just call me Uncle Dave. Just call me Uncle Dave, Casey.
Indeed.
He's going to ride you like Seabiscuit every day he sees you. It's going to be great.
Oh, I know. We're going downhill in the most positive way.
Exactly.
Dave, give this young prince the intro he deserves.
Oh my goodness. He is a true entrepreneur. You know, you talk about overnight successes when you see a young person like Casey with so many successes under his belt. Extraordinary speaker. He's an author. He has a podcast, but he is the co-founder of a company that I invested in, and my wife and I are going to retire off of, called Media Kits. And MediaKits.com is one of the most genius. Look, I did not want to invest in Casey because I don't want anything to ruin our relationship. But I found this business model, and combined with what I do, genius. So people don't even know what Media Kits are, but yet 2 million people have podcasts. Everybody wants to speak, write books. Everybody wants to build their personal brand, but they don't know how to present themselves. And I've been working in this space for 35 years, so I know how long it takes to create a media kit, but I also know the separation that has occurred because of technology and the data that's necessary in a media kit today compared to, you know, very stagnant information of, you know, USA Today, Forbes magazine, you know, top 10 this. That was an old media kit. Today, you have dynamic, instant information. They want to know how many people are watching this live right now. And MediaKits.com not only has the presentation that you needed in a traditional sense, but it has the dynamic connectivity to all the data that can be customized to the person that is receiving the media kit. So I give and have my hats off to the young brother over there. He is incredible. And Kieran, his partner, and him have an unbelievable business called MediaKits.com. If you have any interest in a personal brand, you should be using it, Mr. Craig. You want to get on bigger stages, you should have MediaKits.com. And guess what, Casey, how long does it take to create a media kit?
Well, thank you for the intro, Dave. It takes less than 60 seconds to build a media kit on our platform.
And it takes 10 hours on traditional. It takes 10 hours on average to create a non-dynamic media kit. So do the math. There's no ROI greater than working with Casey Adams and Kieran. I'm an advisor and an investor in the company, and I did not want to invest in the company because I loved this kid for so long. Even before he started dating my niece, I loved him, and now he's so tight into me right now. He is Casey Seabiscuit. That is Adams. That's all you have to tell you.
Oh my God.
How's that for an intro?
Alligator clap for Casey, everybody. Woo!
How's that
Wow.
for an intro?
Intro. What an intro. Thank you, Dave.
Tell us about Media Kits. Is
Yeah,
there anything
well,
that you cover on that?
yeah, I think, what's important to say now is, we've been live officially for 3 weeks in terms of the software being live. Dave was gracious enough to come to our launch party and speak on a panel, which was incredible. But,
Congratulations.
what was that?
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you so much.
We'll
But yeah,
let Craig speak at
go.
our next event, right? We'll let Craig speak at our next event.
Let's go. But overall, I mean, on top of what Dave said, I mean, Media Kits is a platform for creators of any kind, including athletes, musicians, influencers, podcasters, to build a custom media kit online using real-time data and analytics. And it's funny because my partner and I, about 3 years ago, a little backstory, we have a friend, his name's JR Garage. He's a big automotive YouTuber, a little over 1.5 million subscribers. But back when he was just growing, he came to us about 3 years ago and said, hey, this company Pennzoil reached out to me. They want to do a brand deal with me. Can you guys build me a media kit? And Dave, to your point, we looked up on Canva or Photoshop, or like, how do we build a media kit? We built it for him. It took us a couple hours. We're taking his headshot. We're writing his bio. We're manually typing in his numbers and trying to calculate his engagement rate so that we can help him best present himself to a brand. And we do our best. We send it to him, and he gets the brand deal. And then about 3 months later, Ferrari contacted him and said, hey, we need your media kit. We want to fly you down to Daytona Beach. So he comes back to us and is like, hey, guys, I had a viral video. I grew 400,000 subscribers. Can you go update my media kit? Because Ferrari, they want to fly me out. We're like, cool. So we go back. We try to find it in our files, and we're looking for it. We're like, all right, cool. We got it. We end up, editing his numbers, changing 2s to 1s and 3s to 5s, and changing his profile picture. We send it back to him after another couple hours. He gets the deal with Ferrari. And that's when really my partner Kieran and I were just starting to really think about, like, hey, why isn't there a way for creators or musicians or influencers or podcasters to build a media kit once that never gets outdated, that uses real-time data? And, at the time, and Dave knows this, we were both doing our own things. We both had different projects going on. So we kind of just sat on the idea. We were busy, we were younger, not as much experience as Dave would say. And
Couldn't drink.
couldn't drink, right? But right around when COVID started last year, like top of 2020, we both had some more free time. We started really saying, hey, we should just go start this, the time is now. And started bringing on some, just really like the first step was ideating what we wanted it to be, what we wanted the business to be, and then just starting to hire the team. Kieran started bootstrapping it early on, hiring some designers, then hired the first developer, and then 4 or 5 months into it, more so top of the year, that's when we really started not only fundraising but hiring great people and bringing on an incredible team to help build it out. So it's been an exciting journey, and as of 3 weeks ago, we've been live. So it's been 9 months from developing, designing, and actually putting the product out there. So it's exciting, and we're pumped about it. And I know, Dave, we got to actually show them what we've been working on at the Rams Stadium recently from a UI perspective.
They came to my new office, my new studio, and showed it in the stadium. And one of the things I spot by being at your event, Casey, I couldn't believe how many young people, like millions of subscribers and big influencers, didn't even know what a media kit was.
I know.
Right. And it was, some had been doing big deals and they didn't know. And, with the network of PR agencies that I work with, it's going to be incredible how many people, this is the new standard with millions and millions of people that are creating their own personal brands, any arena. If you're a realtor, you're going to want to have your own media kit for your clients because you're going to get more listings. Anything you can think of, this is how simple, easy, and fast it is. And it's just going to allow us to have a new way. The new CV, the new resume is mediakits.com.
This all sounds unbelievable. It sounds like a no-brainer. It's like, why didn't someone think of this before? And obviously, you have the right people involved. And I know Dave is extremely deliberate and strategic with, which pots he steps his hands into, which hats he wears. So congratulations to both of you. I have no idea. No doubt this is going to blow up. And like I said, it's a no-brainer. I think that's super exciting. And it's definitely something.
It better blow up or I'm going to blow Casey up.
I have Casey, I wanted to ask, brother, just shifting gears for a second. The same question I asked Dave early on before you stopped on, like desire and drive, right? You had this at a very young age. You were so motivated and curious to really start your brand as a young entrepreneur before most people even know what the word entrepreneur means. Did you always have that embodied in you, or where did that come from at such a young age?
Yeah, great question. For me, growing up, I was the youngest brother of three. I'm an athlete all my life. I picked up a hockey stick when I was 3 years old and started playing with my older brothers. So I would say early on, and Dave knows this about me, just the athletic drive of getting better and being a part of a team was always instilled in me from the time I could remember picking up a hockey stick. So a couple years ago, right, Dave? Um, but for me, growing up and getting involved with hockey and lacrosse and football led me to a situation in my life where I was a sophomore in high school. I was 15 years old, or turning 16, let's say, and I ended up getting injured while it was the first day of hitting practice during my sophomore year of high school. I was about to play some varsity. I was doing my thing. First day of hitting practice, I ended up getting injured, and I go to the doctor the next day because my neck was really sore that morning. Get an x-ray, sit in the room. Doctor comes in and is like, hey, I have some good news and I have some bad news for you. The good news is you're not paralyzed and you can continue on with your life without having that inconvenience. But the bad news is you have to be in a neck brace for the next 6 months of your life and you can never play football again. And for me, that was the pivoting point and the turning point for me that truly not only instilled not drive at the time, but depression and anxiety. And it caused me to have to reinvent myself and reinvent my identity. And, the first 6 weeks, 12 weeks, I was angry at the world. I remember like screaming at my mom, the season's starting. My friends are playing football and sports and doing their thing. And I'm stuck in my room with the most time in the world to either play video games or in my case, like pick up a book and start learning about entrepreneurship online and start following people like Dave and Gary Vee and people that were talking about social media and building a brand. And I don't know how I stumbled upon it. It was genuinely just by being curious. And I think I saw an ad by Ty Lopez and started following his content and just went down the rabbit hole and became obsessed. And that
Yes.
yeah, that's 6 months of being in a neck brace, which I thought was terrible during the first 12 weeks or 6 weeks, turned out to be the most focused point of my life where I could just sit down without any distractions. I couldn't go out. I couldn't move. I was in pain. I was in this neck brace. And it caused me to just focus on myself and think inwards to say, hey, like, what do I want my life to be? What do I want my future to be? And from there, it was just the momentum started happening. And as you said, I became obsessed and I'm still going at it.
You're at that pivotal fork in the road where you can go down a very dark road, or you kind of, and I saw some people write this in the comments, turn the pain into purpose. And obviously the rest is history. I love that about you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, he's an icon. He's an icon of using pain as an indicator, right? So physical pain is also an indicator that you have a better place to be, a better direction. And knowing how small and weak Casey is, entrepreneurship is like for Gary, myself, and Casey, knowing how weak and small all three of us are, entrepreneurship is a much better place to be than a football field. And we probably get to spend more time with athletes, celebrities, all three of us, than football players get to spend with them. And so in the end, not only are we in a better place, but we manifested exactly what we wanted. And I tell you this, for a young guy as well, Casey not only makes a lot of money, but he helps a lot of people. So one of the things that I love about Casey, Dan Fleischman, Jeff Fenster, some of my young mentees that are flourishing today, like you always say, elevate others, elevate yourself. It's just amazing to me how much they give back. And it makes me the proudest to see all of you guys that are just not doing it for yourself, but you guys are all giving back and helping, everyone of all ages. So I just want to give a shout out. And of course, not to leave out my other mentee that's on top of me on my screen, the CLS experience himself, Craig Siegel, the Eagle. He's soaring high and helping millions of people as well. So thank you, both of you guys. I got time for one more question because Julie's waiting for me. And Casey, I cannot have her get mad at me.
I can confirm that as well. I wanted to ask you guys both the same question. Casey, you started by interviewing a lot of juggernauts in this space, a lot of entrepreneurs. I did something similar with my podcast, CLS Experience. One of the first people I had the privilege of interviewing was Dave. I just get off on picking the brain of the legends of people with such experience. For Dave, I know you have an unbelievable podcast as well. What do you find most fascinating about interviewing the world's greats?
Big shout out to Jacqueline Burnett, Casey's girlfriend, my niece. She's here too. The
Hey,
most
Jack.
fascinating thing to me is what you started with, which is the spirit of excellence. There's a common denominator of athletes, celebrities, entertainers, millionaires, billionaires, entrepreneurs. They all have a spirit of excellence. They may not have had the drive, guys like Tom Bilyeu, right? I know a ton of guys that started off kind of high on their mom's couch doing nothing, but they end up carrying a spirit of excellence and utilizing that spirit of excellence to make money, help people, and have fun, to never quit, to use pain as an indicator that we're going to move to a better place. It's not a stop sign, a turn signal that we're moving to a better place, a better position, to put ourselves in a better situation, which is where we're at today, all three of us. I have my wife waiting. Casey, I will see you at the rehearsal dinner this evening. I look forward to hanging out with you at the Ritz-Carlton. Save me a drink or buy me a drink now that you're 21.
Will do, Dave.
Oh, Dave.
I love you guys. Sorry I have to run. I love you. I love you, Mia, Jacqueline, Casey, and Craig, Jesse, and Jake. Love you all. I missed you. Take care.
Casey, can you hang out for another minute?
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave, have a good day, buddy. Love you.
He's not married. Jacqueline's not as mean as Julie.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, he's incredible.
I'm so happy that you and I connected because I've seen you for a while now, and like I said, I was such a big fan, and it's just so cool that we finally got to connect. I wanted to ask you, like, when you first started and you were getting it going, and you mentioned like Ty Lopez, right? Like some of these things that kind of ignited some of the inspiration to get going. Obviously, nothing when you're an entrepreneur goes up in a straight line, right? There's peaks and valleys. I wanted to ask you personally, brother, what's the biggest challenge that you faced early on in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. For me, I would say there's always been small challenges. And I think looking back over these last 5 years, I've been able to identify like, oh, that wasn't as big as I thought it was in that time. I'm sure you have as well. But something quite funny in my opinion, but also was a true challenge. And maybe there's someone young listening and watching this right now. When I was in high school and I'm on my phone, I'm following these different entrepreneurs and I'm trying to convince my mom and my dad, like, hey, I want to go to this speaking event that's in San Diego or Los Angeles. And a little background on me, growing up, I didn't fly on a plane until I bought the ticket myself. We just, I didn't come from a family that could do that and travel with the family and fly different places. So for me, once I started going down this rabbit hole of wanting to network with people and wanting to meet people and build my brand and build my network, it required traveling and going to meet people in person at different events. And to your point of like one of the biggest challenges was, I remember one of my good friends, Caleb Maddox, he was 14 at the time and I was 15. And he was a speaker on stage with Tony Robbins and Gary Vee, and he's an author of 6 books. Like this guy, he was a young legend, still is. And I remember he invited me to an event to speak in San Diego. It was January 2017. And it was like this young entrepreneur panel that he was putting on. Probably like, 100 people were attending this event. Super like small, fun event. And my challenge was getting my parents to let me skip like 3 days of school, right? And as small as that is in retrospect, I think about that now when it comes to how can you get somebody to not only believe in you but trust you and agree to what you want to do. And that's regarding investors, regarding a team decision with media kits or anything. Like I still find value in this simple lesson and this simple challenge I dealt with because it required me. I remember I was like, oh, they won't let me go. I go upstairs. I booked 2 plane tickets for my dad and then I end up going back downstairs and I'm like, hey, flights are booked. Like we're going. Right. And it was just like, I'm doing this with no other option. And I think that mentality and that quote unquote challenge at the time of me having to sell my parents on letting me miss a couple of days of school to go to an event was, again, in retrospect, so small, but the lesson of just having no other option, but I'm going to do this has paid dividends. Exactly.
Yeah, I love it, brother. And you are obsessed. And I think that, some people think that being obsessed might be a negative sometimes. I think a healthy obsession is what it's all about because then you'll just be so persistent, so passionate, and so gritty in working towards your vision. And look how far you've come. Like, just like looking back at your journey for a second, obviously you can only connect the dots like backwards. Like, what a ride. And I wanted to wrap it up with this, the same question that I asked Dave, because I knew in the beginning, and I did my homework because obviously I'm a fan. I wanted to give you the respect you deserve. When you first started your podcast, you were interviewing some jugs in the space, right? Like Andy Frisella, Dean,
Yeah.
Let, and so forth. I know you sat down with Larry King. Like, what is something that you find so fascinating about having conversation with some of the world's greats?
I love that, Craig. It's such an incredible question. For me, and it's funny, I have this cool piece of artwork right here. This was the first microphone that I used when I started my podcast. Bought it on Amazon. It was $100, and I ended up turning it into a piece of art because not only because of the significance of a podcast, but what it means to me to have great conversations with the most incredible people. And I think on here I have, what does it say? Like elevated curiosity or prolific guess, like these key words that mean the world to me.
Love
And,
that.
I started my podcast when I was 17. I was in my bedroom in Virginia, a junior, senior in high school. And when I started it, my intention was to meet people. My intention was to have a great conversation with people. I remember I was reading one of Gary Vee's latest books, Crushing It, and the last chapter was about podcasting. And I was like, all right, I mean, this sounds cool. I can have a quote unquote excuse to go sit down with someone to talk to them and pick their brain for an hour. Sure, like this sounds great. So I ended up just, reaching out to friends of mine and getting people on the show. Anyone from my business partner now, Kieran, who started his own business when he was 16, to my good friend Jeff, who we talked about, that's a big influencer in the automotive space. And throughout that process, I just started DMing people, right, in a sincere way, like, hey, I'd love to have you on my podcast. I love your story, and I would mention different key points. And I remember, as you said, and this will come back to your question here in a second, but as I started interviewing these great people, whether that was my 14th episode with Andy Frisella or Dean Graziosi, or one of my, I think, like pivoting points was I interviewed now a good friend of mine, Chris Jama Pfaff. He owns a clothing brand, Young and Reckless, cousins Rob Dyrdek. And in retrospect, like that was huge for me because I watched him on TV growing up, on MTV, on Robin Big and Rob Dyrdek's Fantasy Factory. And as I started having these people on my show, I think my most important lesson early on and value was, wow, everyone has a story. Everyone started from not nothing, but they started having no idea what they're doing. They started by having a simple goal, a simple vision, a simple drive to do what they want in life. And to the point, they were obsessed. And I think through the years of, interviewing hundreds of different entrepreneurs, anyone from the late Larry King to Elon Musk's mom and sister and 12 different billionaires in between, it's given me the perspective of not only anything is possible, as cliche as that is, but anything is possible with the right intention, with the right drive, with the right team, with the right obsession. And if you can really see yourself through the story of others, like, why can't I do that, right? Like, everyone had the most tragic or crazy story that you would never believe they would get out of. And for me, like, as I go through different hardships throughout my career, it gives me the perspective where, like, if I go through something or I'm having a bad day, I can reflect and be like, wow, like, I remember that interview with X person. He told me this, and I'll compare it. And I'm like, my problems are so small in retrospect compared to those things. And I think for me, just to like really drive forward your question, from sitting down with all of these greats and these incredible entrepreneurs, it's truly allowed me to speed up my process when it comes to avoiding failures or some like business principles or hiring tactics, whatever it is. It has truly allowed me to speed up my time frame of not only experience, but have those resources and those people like Dave and like yourself now that I can tap into and make a phone call when I'm dealing with something or when we're raising capital for our startup or whatever it is. And that experience and that wisdom, but most importantly, those relationships have paid dividends when it comes to my time and the ability to, like look around the corner before I truly had to, by having that wisdom and insight. And I think for me, like to your point of podcasting, I have my equipment right here. And every time I look at it, I'm like, the equipment, the podcast, the show on iTunes, like all of that is to me irrelevant, but it's like the people that I've had on the show, the people that I've interacted with, those, and that is the thing that has truly made all the difference in my life. And even this live stream included, like these interactions, these conversations has,
Agreed.
and I'm saying, have paid dividends with my ability to execute, and most importantly, my knowledge and awareness of myself moving into my career.
100%. What a great answer, buddy. And I couldn't agree more. Like the networking, right? Not to sound too cliche, but like picking the brains of all these greats, having the resources, and just to land the plane on what you said earlier. Like everybody has a story, right? Everybody has something that happened to them, but the ones that made it and were super successful, like they all had that drive, that obsession, but also the ability to be creative and resourceful, right? Like there's so many opportunities out there, even you, like just sending out a sincere DM to someone, but not like a generic one, like letting them know that
Yeah.
bits of their story really resonated with you. Then you get one on the show. Now all of a sudden you have credibility and so forth. You're flying here, you're doing your thing. And then it all starts to happen and it starts to blossom. There's so many people that want to make such a big impact. Like a lot of people I coach and so forth, but they don't want to get resourceful. They don't want to step out of their comfort zone. They don't want to step outside the box and so forth. And I love the route that you took. I think it's so inspiring. And for anyone at any age that wants to make an impact and get things going, like just be resourceful. And obviously being obsessed doesn't hurt either.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love
So,
this conversation so much, brother. Yeah, the audience is so engaged in the sales audience. They're saying they want Casey Adams on the CLS experience. Alexandra, email him.
oh,
Let's get that done. I'd love
I
this
would
talk.
love it, man. Let's set it up. Let's make it happen. I'm absolutely excited about it.
Hell yeah. Congratulations on the launch of your new project. I know it's going to be huge, brother. I'm excited to continue watch your flight. We'll get you on this show. And I have a very good intuition that this is just the beginning of our relationship. Thanks for your time today. Unbelievable weekend.
Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate you so much for having me on. I've heard so many incredible things from Dave. So this is just the beginning, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon, man.
Same, brother. And we'll catch up in person soon.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome,
All right.
Casey. Have a
Thank you,
great
everyone.
week.
You as well, Craig. I'll see you soon.
Okay, take care.
Bye.
So many gems, guys. I absolutely love it. What a great show today. Casey is such an inspiration. He started in the game young and he's crushing it, but it didn't happen overnight. He was resourceful, he was creative, he was obsessed, and he had the drive. So absolutely love that conversation. We're going to continue on the CLS experience. All of you out there have an unbelievable weekend. Sharpen the axe. I'll land the plane with this. Are you interested or are you committed? Because there's a big difference between the two. I love you all from the bottom of my heart. We got some great news this week, really all around, but specifically the stitches are out. So we're back on our feet, both literally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I'm just feeling so blessed, especially as of late. The law of attraction, so many good things, living with intention, changing doubt to unwavering faith, and just trusting the next 200 feet and then the next 200 feet. Big Dave, I see you. I love you. Rachie, my two badass juggernaut queens, Jessica and Alexandra, who are just as much CLS as I will ever be. It's a tripod, and I see you. I love you all so much. Have an unbelievable weekend. Joanna, how you doing? Sharpen the axe, guys. Love you.